This is a continued hearing in the matter of Riverside Townhouses versus Rachel Hurd. Attorney Reyna Haddad is here on behalf of the townhouses. Their manager, Lori Combach, is present, and Ms. Hurd is present. We've had several previous hearings in this matter, and I blocked out 2 hours this morning for further hearing in the matter. This is filed as a demand for non-payment of rent, was first heard on May 15th. We continued it to June 1st. And then we continued it until today. The defendant's apartment appears to be suffering from a termite infestation. She doesn't like that very much. She stopped paying her rent in March, and she's paying her rent in escrow to the court, including a payment today, which I guess pays the rent through June. I'm not sure exactly where we are, but at any rate, my hope was you guys could find a resolution to this. I don't think this termite infestation is manufactured. I think it's a real thing that needs to be addressed. And so today, we're just trying to figure out how to assess rent that is due and owing. This isn't a termination of tenancy case, it's a non-payment of rent. The defendant has not paid a rent because of the issue with the termites. So the court's been accepting the rent. So we need to try to figure out what it is she needs to pay to maintain this tenancy. Ms. Haddad, what's the plaintiff's position?
So, Your Honor, there's that echo again. My client indicates, and then we have also an invoice from Rose Pest Solutions, that the unit has been treated, and to my knowledge, that I believe that since it's been treated, there hasn't been any additional no additional pests, if you will, or ants or termites, whatever they may be. I know that the court is inclined to abate some rent here. My only issue is that I do see that the defendant had paid her rent through February. That was the last time that she was at a zero. That actually she was at a plus 19. She had a credit of $19 in her account in February. She just stopped paying rent in March. The last time that we were, my only issue is notice of the pests. So we do have documentation from Rose Pest Control in March that the unit was treated. I believe it's March 6th. And then after that, subsequent to that, defendant just did stop paying rent. But my client was never put on notice of the pest issue still being persistent until the first hearing date. And so we'd be more than happy to entertain some type of an abatement, but the issue that again is the notice. And so my client can't just, it's not their job to just, they don't have ESP, Your Honor. They don't just know that the pest issue still was persistent unless the defendants or the tenants put my client on notice. And so I know, and I appreciate that the defendant has been paying into escrow since the last hearing date or even previously. And so to my knowledge, the pest issue has been treated, and that is where we are at today. So I think we're ready to resolve this case today. And it's just a matter of we're at the court's mercy, I suppose.
All right. Well, what do you claim is the current arrearage?
So there is a rent to retain in the amount of $1,715. That does not include attorney fees and costs in the amount of $186.18. That's an odd number. So the total balance is $1,901.18. Again, as I indicated, the defendant paid her rent according to our ledger on February 17, 2026, the amount of $450. At that point, she had a positive balance of $19, a credit.
All right, so let's break that down. Rent is, I believe, $411 per month.
Correct.
So that would be March, April, May, June.
Correct.
Equals 1,644. Minus the $19 credit, I get
And-
1,625.
And then there is a $20 late fee that accrues on the 6th of each month. And then on the 15th, an additional $10 of a late fee.
So $30 per times 4, 120, 1,625 plus 120 is 1,745. We're close. All right. Now, Ms. Hurd, Ms. Hurd, what's your position?
I couldn't really hear anything you guys were saying. You guys were cutting out a lot.
All
I
right,
don't know
well,
if it's my service or.
I think it is. All right. They claim that you owe full rent and they understand I'm going to reduce it, which is called abate it by some number. But you owe, absent any issue regarding the bugs, you'll March, I don't have it right. March, April, May, and June, which is 4 months rent at $411 per month. That's 1,644. You had a $19 credit, which gives us 1,625. They're asking for 100 and they're asking for $110 of late fees. Oh, wait a minute.
Your Honor,
Yes, or $90 of late fees. Yes, Ms. Combach?
on our ledger, we have not applied June's late fees on there because I knew this court case was coming up and she had been paying it to the court. So
Okay,
that's where the $30 difference is.
all right. $90 of late fees, so we're close. Now, after I saw the pictures of this termite infestation, I didn't think this was something you were gonna cure with a little bit of over-the-counter bug spray. So they've hired a professional company to come in and do a termination. Did you have to move out of your unit or vacate the unit while they did that?
No, sir.
They just came in while you were there?
They had set some in-ground traps outside. And then they had maintenance come in and tear down a part of my wall behind my washer and dryer and fill it with termite foam, if that's correct, I believe. So they filled it with the termite foam and they said that after it dried and stuff, they would come back and put the drywall up and paint over. I haven't seen anything so far, termite wise.
Well, that's good.
So I don't know if that's helping or if like the traps outside are helping.
Well, I don't think what I saw is gonna be alleviated by a couple of termite traps. And I don't think your apartment is the only one in this building or maybe in this complex that has this problem. I don't know how seriously they're reviewing everything else, but this is the first case I've seen of this kind. One thing I discussed was the option of moving you to another unit. Has that been discussed at all further?
It has, Your Honor. We can, depending on with the court, if they say that it is necessary, then we can do that, yes.
Another 2-bedroom unit?
Yes.
Of course, that entails moving every single thing you own out of your apartment into another apartment. So, Ms. Hurd, would you rather stay there in this apartment or try to relocate into another apartment in the complex?
I personally, so I don't know how anybody else feels about like I would say rotted wood that they were eating at. I don't know how that's gonna go away unless it's like replaced. Either or is fine for me as long as they don't come back to how they were.
All right. Now, Ms. Haddad contends that there's an issue regarding notice of the problem, that they treated it in March and that they weren't on notice that the problem existed. And I'm not sure how to interpret that. Ms. Combach and Ms. Hurd, I'm going to ask you to both please raise your right hand. You both swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Combach, when did you first become aware that there was a termite problem in this unit?
She let us know on March 6th.
All right. And when did you first treat it?
On March 6th.
All right. When did you next learn that there was a problem?
When we did our first court date here, when she had told the court that was why she was no longer.
That was May 15th.
Yep.
Did you ever, did the pest control company do any follow-up after March 6th?
No, we did not, just because we didn't know that what they had baited and taken care of didn't take care of the issue.
All right, Ms. Hurd, you reported in early March that you had termites. They came and did a treatment. You showed pictures, which I won't share here because nobody wants to see a bunch of pictures of termites crawling around, that continued into April and May. When did you next advise them that there'd been a continuing problem?
I told Amanda, and Amanda's the one that had to hand maintenance the water bottle with the termites in. I don't recall the exact date.
Was it after the March 6th treatment?
I'd say it was a little bit after.
Now, who's Amanda? She's with the maintenance department?
No, she used to be front desk.
Okay. So you told us before, you gathered up some termites, put them in a bottle, and took them into the front office. Is that correct?
She actually had
Say that again.
maintenance had came and got them from me. I said maintenance came to my door and grabbed them from me.
All right, and that was after the treatment?
Yes, when Amanda had told me if I could capture a couple to give them to maintenance, just so they could determine if they were flying ants or termites.
All right, what I'm about to do is determine how much rent that you owe and apply your escrow funds to that. Whether you vacate to another apartment, I guess is kind of between you and management. You said you could do it either way. And the plus is you would get out of this apartment with whatever issues it may have. Maybe they're resolved. The negative is, in order to do that, you got to move everything you own into another apartment. And that's not always easy or convenient. But I'm going to abate this rent by half. I don't know how seriously management is taking this problem. Recently, an apartment complex in Kalamazoo was condemned because management had neglected wooden stairs between the units. Were in very dilapidated disrepair. It looked like a nice enough place. I think there were as many as 1,000 tenants in there. Anyway, they condemned the whole thing, and everybody had to all of a sudden figure out where they were going to go and what they were going to do. And the management company had been neglecting this issue and kicking it down the road. So I think they're trying to resolve it now. This isn't the kind of thing that's going to condemn the entire complex, but they ought to be more concerned, and maybe this will stop it. All right, so we've got $411 per month. As I indicated, times 4 is 1,644. 1,644 minus 19 is the same number I got the first time. Through June, rent is 1,625. I'm going to divide that by 2. Is $812.50. I'm going to allow March's late fee. I'm going to disallow April, May, and June. So 812 plus March late is $832.50. Court costs are $186.18. So the total amount due that's not right. 832.50 plus 186.8 equals 101868. $1,018.68. Hello, Lane. Can you tell me how much total escrow has been paid? Um, all right, thank you. Bye.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I just want to get the numbers correct. So 411 times the 4 is 1644 minus the $19 credit, which brings me to 1625, correct?
Correct.
And you've divided that in half, which equals $812.50. You're allowing
Correct.
the $30 late fee for March, which brings us
Yes.
to $842.50.
Yes, I have the number down 842.50.
Correct. And then plus the 186.18 in attorney fees and costs. I'm showing $1,028.68.
You're correct. I had only added $20. She's paid $700 in escrow. I thought the whole rent had been paid, but
That is
1028. So the rent is $42.50 minus $700 escrow is $142.50. Plus the court costs of $186.18. Equals $328.68. Complete your rent through June. Now, your July rent will go back to the market rate of, well, not the market rate, your subsidized rate of $411. Now, you haven't been paying the whole amount. You've been paying less than the full amount. I thought we were getting the whole thing, but apparently not. So this is not a termination of tenancy. It's a non-payment of rent case. And you owe $142 and, well, you actually owe $842.50 in rent, minus $700 that you've paid into escrow, which leaves a balance through June of $142.50. The court costs are always going to be here. There's a filing fee, there's a service fee, and there's a statutory attorney fee of only $75. That adds up to $186.18. So you need to pay $328 within the next 10 days, which would be by June 28th, or you would be subject to being evicted. I don't think it's going to come to that. Of course, on July 1st, July's rent is due. And July's rent will be due in the $411 amount. And if it's late, they'll attach late fees to it. So you need to make every endeavor to pay $328.68 within the next 10 days. Otherwise, you would be subject to being evicted. Now, you can continue to work with management as to whether they're going to put you in a different unit. They seem to be amenable to that. I'm not going to force it or make a ruling on it. If you're content with the treatment they're done, that's good enough for me. We're not talking about huge amounts of money. Maybe the abatement is too much, maybe it's not enough, but I split it in half and each party suffers equally for the infestation. Now, Ms. Hurd, if you decide to move, you need to turn in your keys and give your forwarding address in writing within 4 days of your moving. I don't expect you're going to do that. What I expect is you're going to pay the rest of this, and then you're going to pay July's rent on July 1st. Stay in contact with your management. Stay in contact with them, particularly if you see more termites. You need to notify them immediately. Don't wait 8 weeks and say, hey, I got termites in here. If you find termites next week, you need to go down to the office and make them aware of it. But that's my ruling. You owe $842 minus $700, which is $142.50 in rent, $186.18 in court costs, for a total of $328.68 by June 28th. Ms. Haddad, I would ask if you would email me a judgment in that amount. And
Yes.
You've got our email address. Ms. Hurd,
yes,
Ms. Hurd, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Do you expect to be able to pay this within the next 10 days?
Yeah.
Very good. Stay in contact with Ms. Combach. They don't want you to have this problem either, and they certainly don't want anybody else to have it. All
So,
right.
Your Honor, before we conclude, can I submit the judgment, the amount of $842.50, $186.18 total of $1,028.68, and then in the further orders indicate that the escrow is to be released in the amount of $700 is to be released. And I will just indicate that, you know, half of the rent.
Yes, that's the proper way to do it. So we'll do an escrow release order also. I'll take care of that one.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Your Honor.